This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much!
On 97.7 FM, The City.
Greetings, blessings, and good fortune, everybody. It's Thursday. Yes, you know what that means. The Bitcoin Otter Show's on. 6 o'clock Central Time. If you guys are in the East, it's going to be 7. West, well, you know how far west you go. That's up to you. However, we have a lot to talk about tonight. We hope we have a lot to talk. Well, we know we have a lot to talk about, but we hope to get some chat action in. I'm going to try and get us up on the Facebook thingamajigger here. There we go. We got that. So we're going to go on there. We're going to take down the volume, and then I'm going to be ready for you guys popping up. Matt's already here. Sounds good. Good to see you, Matt. As we know, we're going to do the usual thing, here at 97.7 The City, KCYP out of McAllen, Texas, right? We're here in the McAllen Creative Incubator. It's the old library on Main Street, and I think it's Ash. Either way, you'll find it. Okay, it's the McAllen Creative Incubator. We got musicians, we've got artists, we've got sculptors, we've got photographers. They're all over the place. Very artsy kind of atmosphere here. So if you ever want to take, hey, Renee, good to see you. If you want to take the kids by, grandkids or whatever, it's really cool. 3 stories. Very interesting place this is. Also, we're going out on Facebook. We're going out on YouTube. We're going out on TuneIn Radio. It's an app, right? So TuneIn Radio and Radio Garden. 2 radio apps. You can listen to radio all over the world. But KCYP 97.7 out of McAllen is on there too. And we are also. Will, good to see you, Will. So we got a lot to talk about, obviously, this week. However, one thing I definitely want to talk about is the economic barometer, okay? Not talking about the regular barometer, okay? Because here in McAllen, we had a cold snap. As I was driving in, it was 83, a brisk 83 degrees here in McAllen, Texas. I don't know how we can take it, but I think we're just gonna hang in there and see how we do. Sue, good to see you. So we're going to start out with gold. What's the gold price? How do we figure out whether the dollar is going up, the dollar is going down? They're never going to tell us. They're not going to tell us the real numbers as far as inflation goes. We know that. If they were born to do anything, it's lie, right? So gold is at 2,704 Federal Reserve notes for 1 ounce of gold. So you tell me what's better to have. Silver, $31.92. Here's the great news about silver, that it's going up. Not so much. We know it's going to go up. What about silver is so good? We can still buy it. It's awesome. Because I'm telling you, one of these days, I truly believe that we won't be able to get it. I think that between nation states, industry, and people who know what's up, there will come a time when silver will be unobtainium. I didn't invent that. I just listened to the silver shows. So I think we're still doing good because we can buy silver. That's my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know that any financial advisors would wear a shirt like this with a Lone Star cap. And if they do, you might not want to take their advice, at least not right off the bat, right? So Bitcoin, my favorite, $66,985 for one of those baby bad boys. I love them. I wish I had one. Like I tell everybody, especially if you're not really into Bitcoin, you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. I am nowhere near a whole Bitcoin. Nowhere near. Okay. So you go on your favorite, money app, PayPal, Cash App, and you buy Bitcoin. There's ATMs around, all different kinds. If you want to know a little more, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. I'll square you away. Now, here's a very good indicator as to how we're doing in our economy. Average mortgage rate, 30-year rate, 6.51%. It's not good. It's not good, but it's better than it was a couple months ago. The 15-year rate, 5.81%. If you can afford to buy a house, might want to wait, until the boss is back in office. Yes. So I'm going to get into a little bit of Maria. Good to see you here, Maria. Bienvenido. So the CoinDesk is telling us, like we needed to know, Bitcoin jumps to just shy of $68,000 and well, not an ounce, but a Bitcoin before a quick plunge lower. Now, I'm going to read a couple of these out, okay? And what I would like for you to understand is, especially now that Bitcoin did that halvening thing, I talk about it perhaps not enough, but the way Bitcoin is programmed, it stays as a deflationary instrument. What do I mean by that? It's not going to inflate like the Federal Reserve note where people can just keep printing more. Well, a select group of people, and you're not one of them. Anyway, Bitcoin cannot go above 21 million, and we're already at 19 million some Bitcoin. Okay, that's it. 21 million is it. That's the limit. Now, when it gets mined, a certain amount of Bitcoin is minted every so many blocks on the blockchain, right? Somebody who's out there mining it gets the bonus. Bing, they get the bonus, right? It used to be 6.5 Bitcoin they would get. Cha-ching, yeah. So every 4 years, that gets halved. So it's actually being minted at half of the speed, meaning half of the amount of Bitcoin that usually comes out is now lessened. Hence, the value and the price go up. So these people, I won't call them yahoos. Eddie, good to see you up here, Eddie. I won't call them yahoos because some of them do know what they're talking about. But the fact of the matter is, ultimately, Bitcoin will not be ruled by anything, meaning the ETFs that are out there now that are tethered to Bitcoin, maybe they do have a little bit of manipulation. Perhaps the S&P 500, the American stock market. I believe nothing is really going to contain the price of Bitcoin for various different reasons. But let's suffice it to say that pretty soon any shackles that they want these banksters want to put upon the Bitcoin, they're just going to be shattered. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. It just this aggression will not stand, man. So for all you achievers out there, if you appreciate that line. So digital assets, this is from CoinDesk again. Digital assets are finally beginning to pay attention to not just the growing chance of a Trump victory. It's them, guys. It's not me. In November, but also a GOP sweep. You know what? What do we need Republicans for anyway? They haven't done anything for us. Why do we need them? Just get the boss in office. So, said Standard Charter's Jeff Kendrick, whatever he is. The price of Bitcoin put in an upside down V, it says, during the U.S. morning hours on Tuesday, surging 3-month high of 67 for tumbling back to the $65,000 level. Now, we're going to see a lot of this, guys. Okay, we're going to see a lot of this coming up because, well, sooner or later, we're going to have a tumble in the dollar, a big one. Secondly, we are going into a bull market in Bitcoin. So it's going to go up based on history, right? There were 4 halvenings prior to this one that happened in April of 2024, this year. So if you want to look at some, charts or whatever, you want to see some graphics, whatever, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. Again, I will square you away. So it's not too hard to predict that it's going to go up. And you got a crazy amount of people trying to predict that exact number. Here's one. Asia's elite, this is again on CoinDesk. Asia's elite embrace crypto, foresee Bitcoin at 100,000 by year end. Am I going to say Bitcoin is going to be $100,000 by year end? No, I'm not going to say that. I don't want to promise you anything that I can't deliver. However, it's very realistic, very realistic. And here's the article, a little bit of it. Anyway, digital assets have emerged as an alternative investment class for private wealth in Asia. Okay? Here, Asia, everywhere. So it says that 76% of family offices and high net worth individuals investing in cryptos versus 58% in 2022. So 78% of those family offices, not sure what they mean by that, but 76% of family offices and 58 in 2022. So it's growing, right? 2 years, you get, you do the math. We get a bump, right? So that's expected. And I guess they're highlighting in this particular article the fact that it's in Asia. Corinne, good to see you. A growing number of Asia-based private wealth managers are entering the crypto market, with some forecasting Bitcoin will hit 100,000 by year's end, according to a report by Digital Asset Technology. Yeah. Again, they're going to be throwing these numbers out there. That's why I'm not standing by any of them. Can it happen? Of course. Will it happen? I don't know. This is off Bitcoin.com. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink. Yeah, it's too easy. I won't say it. But if you're the CEO of BlackRock, what's your motivation to tell the truth? Seriously. Why would you tell the truth if you were the CEO of BlackRock? I don't even know why I'm reading this. Anyway, let's just see what he's lying about here. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink has emphasized Bitcoin's growing legitimacy as an investment, calling it an alternative to commodities like gold. Oh, isn't that sweet, Larry? We believe Bitcoin is an asset class in itself, said the CEO of the world's largest asset manager. And I'm going to add a little bit thing, and land thief. Yeah. I just added that in there. That wasn't Bitcoin.com. That was the Bitcoin Otter. So, yeah, Larry Fink says Bitcoin's growing up. Whatever Larry says. We'll be talking a little bit more about BlackRock. Dan, good to see you, Dan. We'll be talking a little bit more about BlackRock. Okay. This is not. This is no bueno. Okay. This BlackRock thing, and Vanguard's another one. So, I don't like these guys at all, and I'm sure you have no. It's not warming the cockles of your heart either. Okay. Natural news. I haven't done a natural news article in a while. Natural news is a very good health news outlet. They do politics, geopolitical events, and so forth, articles, but they really thrive on natural supplements. And it's what I like. Louis, good to see you. What I like about natural news is this guy has a lab that he tests the supplements in. So he'll find, heavy metals, fluffers like silicon and stuff in your supplements. We don't want that stuff. We get enough fluff on TV, right? We don't need that. We get enough fluff from Democrats and Republicans. We don't need that. So natural news is good. And the guy who runs it is called, what do they call him again? The Health Ranger. Yeah. The Alliance for Natural Health discussed in an article how the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, that corrupt organization, and other organic certifiers are allowing the genetically engineered vaccines to infiltrate organic food production. So just when you thought it was safe because it's organic, it ain't so safe. They're going to get you. They're going to get you. Because I'm not out there watching cows at night. I'm not out there. Joe, are you out there watching cows you're going to eat at the steakhouse tomorrow night or whatever? No, you're not out there watching cows. Anybody out there watching cows? I'm not watching the cows. They're going to jab the cows behind our back. It's just the way it is. Louis, good to see you here, Louis. Throw in some comments, guys. If you got some comments on this stuff or you want to, bring the subject to something that is near and dear to your heart right now. Julian, good to see you, Julian. We're talking about how they're going to and have been slipping. Well, maybe not have been. I won't go that far. But the USDA is looking a blind eye at the fact that people want to use basically genetically engineered vaccines on the cows that we eat. And they're going to still have that organic, label on the package. They're going to get us one way or the other. And like I said, none of us are out there watching the cows. Maybe we ought to be doing that. Dan says, I used to watch the cows on 17th Street on Saturday nights. I'm sure you did. But you know what? They could be vaccinated too. You never know. Dan. Anyway, in 2019, the National Organic Standards Board, wow, who'd want to work for them? An advisory committee of the USDA decided to consider the use of vaccines produced through excluded methods or genetic modification in organic food production. Since then, the committee advised the USDA that genetically engineered vaccines could only be permitted in organic production if an equivalent vaccine is commercially unavailable. Where have we heard that before? Gee, I think I'm getting flashbacks of COVID. Wow. This is the kind of stuff that we knew was going to happen with the technocracy that we're being ushered into. Ushered is a good word. We're being pushed into it, right? Matt DiPiola, cow tipping. Yes, I remember that. See, as you know, I was in the suburbs, but if you go out in the country in New York, you can tip a cow. I haven't done that. I think Matt did, if I remember. Patty, good to see you. Sue says, yet the FDA banned Juul vapes. Yeah, because they're not good for you, apparently. But those genetically engineered vaccines, they'll go right up in you and they'll like it. You'll like it maybe never. On organic stuff. So you think you're doing good. No. Dan says, let's talk about how they changed the definition of vaccine to allow the new technology to be under it. Yes. Now, we're on Facebook, so I don't know how much of this stuff we could talk to, but we're talking about cows here, right? So it's not dangerous, right? Not dangerous at all because we only eat them. Yeah. So, yeah, this is crazy. I know, Dan. I'm with you on this. So I don't know how we're going to stop these people, but I'm hoping that it's soon, and I hope it starts with President number 47. Yes. President number 47. Step right on up. You can't come in too soon, sir. Okay, well, that's enough on that. But yeah, the Health Ranger is on naturalnews.com if you're interested. Corinne says, Zaya says, hi, Papa. Hi, Zaya. That's my grandboy right there, one of them. And hi, Johnny. You too. Dan says it starts with Dark MAGA. Yeah, you're right. Make America great again. I mean, that's like, here's the thing about that slogan, make America great again. The reason why the enemy hates, and I say the enemy is not other Americans, okay? The enemy is the communist faction, okay? Yeah, we got a lot of communist sympathizers in the U.S., and they vote blue. I understand that. But it's not all their fault. I mean, they're very educated. You can't really blame them. They probably have, many of them have degrees. If you were institutionalized, what would you think? You know what I mean? Anyway, so this is from X. Michael O'Keefe says, Irish Senator Barry Ward has just confirmed that crimes against Irish people are not as serious as crimes against foreigners. It's official now, says Michael O'Keefe. We're second-class citizens in our own country. That's Ireland. Ladies and gentlemen, say what you will about the situation. Miguel, good to see you, brother. Say what you will about the American situation. But the fact of the matter is, Ireland is up the creek without a paddle because they're on an island, guys. They're on an island. They get invaded. There's no place to go. And here's the thing that kills me about this Irish situation. The Irish fought the British tooth and nail for centuries. But then they let this invasion just happen. I don't understand it, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, we could throw blame at us too, right? We could throw blame at us too. We kind of allow the same thing. No, we do allow the same thing. But we're on a much bigger island. And they don't have the room for error that we do. And we have plans, okay? We plan to start on November 5th with the election. And then on January 20th, once the boss is back in office, he's going to mount the largest deportation of gang members and criminals that we've ever seen. Hopefully, we have C-5 cargo planes from the military on standby, ready to pump these people right back into the Venezuelan jails that they come from. Okay? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there are many criminals coming in from other countries, as if we needed more. We got enough in Washington, D.C. and Hollywood. You kidding me? Anyway, we're back to X, and this is DC Drano on X. FEMA is apparently confiscating donated supplies in North Carolina. Now, I'm going to go on the record here and say this is an allegation. But if I know federal agencies like I know FEMA, I think he's dead on. Because who really owns FEMA? Do you think we as Americans, do you think we have any input on what FEMA does? No, we don't. Do we have any input, it seems, anymore on what Washington at all does? No. That's why. And if you want some inspiration, this is a sidebar. But if you want some inspiration, go to YouTube and look up Donald J. Trump's 2016 inaugural address. If that doesn't get you pumped to be an American, you might not be an American. And I'm serious. Even if you are a communist sympathizer or you're a commie living in the U.S. and you hate Trump because Trump is bad because Trump. Everything in the world is bad because Trump. If you're one of those people, I dare you. Let me put the challenge to you. Go onto YouTube and look up the 2016 inaugural address of Donald J. Trump. If you're American, even if you're any other country, it's going to stir you because the guy is a red-blooded patriot. A lot of times people ask me, hey, how can you be a fan of Javier Milei from Argentina? Afuera! I love that guy, and I love his hair. How could you be a fan of Bukele in El Salvador? The guy is putting bad people in jail. 0 homicides. How can you be a fan of the worst, except for Trump, Vlad Putin? The guy kicked out the bankers, guys. The reason why they're as bad as we are is because the bankers aren't there. Okay, the Federal Reserve got, if that's a verb, right out of there. Okay, say what you will about Russia, but they don't have a Federal Reserve. Okay? And he made sure of it. Same with Bolsonaro in Brazil, Orban in Hungary. Okay, the globalists hate these people. Communists hate these leaders because they will not allow their people, their country, to be overtaken, to be overthrown, a la Ukraine 2014, USA 2020. So all of these things come together to incite us to patriotism. We're not BLM. We are not Antifa fascists. Okay? We are Americans, patriots. Now, and this one, I'm going to rob this from Dave at the X22 report. When the initial revolution kicked off, do you think the patriots burned down their own homes? Do you think the patriots burned down their own farms or businesses? The general store that was there in the township? No, they didn't. Because that's dumb. That's what communists do. That's what the federal government was doing at January 6th. Burn it down, baby. So the incendiaries from the Capitol Police go into the middle of the crowd. Incendiary grenades, man. You don't believe me? Look for the video. But if you really don't believe me and you really hate Donald Trump, it probably means you'll never see the video because you watch TV. Open your mind. Please. I'm asking nicely. So, what do we got here? The 50-foot tractor trailer. This is, again, where FEMA did this to us, or did this to North Carolina. Filled with winter supplies, was delivered to Tudor Baptist Church in Elks Park, North Carolina on Sunday. Now FEMA has confiscated those baby diapers and food supply and prohibited future donations. Why would FEMA stop desperate people from receiving food? Ladies and gentlemen, I have many answers to that. I just don't know. I'm not on the ground there. I would love to tell you exactly what's going on there. I can't because I'm not there. I don't know for sure. I really don't. So the fact of the matter is, do I believe these things are occurring? I absolutely do, because I know who's in charge of this government. Okay? And it's not the decrepit old man, and it's not the middle class woman. She says that she's middle class and Cammy the clown, whatever. whatever. Did I mispronounce her name? I hope I didn't. Praying Medic says the Internet Archive is still offline. The Internet Archive has been around for a long time. It ensures that nothing that goes on the Internet can ever be erased. It's also called the Wayback Machine. It's down. Go figure. Dan says, okay, let me back up there. Matt says, because FEMA wants us to die. Matt, I would love to say that you're wrong. I would love to say you're way out of line, but I agree 100%. Dan said for his first comment, how can they be a fan of Che Guevara wearing that stupid shirt with his image? Exactly. They've never been really coherent, have they, Dan? Dan also says because it wasn't the preferred vendor. Ding, 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 ding. It's always about the money signs. Wall Street Apes on X says the companies doing the North Carolina Hurricane Helene victims' home inspections listed on the FEMA website are owned by, I'll give you two guesses. I'll give you two. Anybody want to pop up? Who do you think owns the companies that are doing home inspections, land inspections in North Carolina where they just can't rebuild? Because if you have an inspection that says you can't rebuild, well, you can't rebuild. I'll give you a guess. Two companies, and they own the companies that are inspecting the land and telling people, you know what? Sorry, can't rebuild here. I think they just got off planes from Hawaii, if you get my drift. Well, nobody's popping up, so I'm going to give it to you. Vanguard and BlackRock. The same two companies that are going to steal the land, okay, are sending inspectors to tell people, no, you can't rebuild here, or we'll fine you every day. There's a lot of lithium in North Carolina, ladies and gentlemen. Who'd have thunk it? Well, there's a pretty good way to know now. Wherever the storm hits the hardest, there's something under the ground that they want. Otter, are you saying that storms can be manipulated? I'm absolutely saying that. Absolutely. We can argue about it too. Thank you, Louie. Louie got it. Ding, ding, ding. All right, we're about halfway through the show today. I want to make sure everybody knows that we're on 97.7 FM, KCYP, the city, out of McAllen, Texas. We're going out on Facebook. We're going out on YouTube, both on the Christopher Ott and the Bitcoin Otter Facebook feeds and the Bitcoin Otter YouTube channel. Now, I want to come up with something because I have a friend of mine, okay? And he recently went to Hacienda Ford. His name's Pepe Rojas. And if you are in need of a vehicle, Pepe will square you away. Tell him the Otter sent you. He'll give you a good deal. He's not going to beat you up. Tell him the Otter sent you, okay? He's got a good deal. He's going to make a good deal for you, all right? Give him a shot. You need a vehicle? Call him. Get a hold of him. I'll get his number. If you want his number, I'll get that up for us next week. But if you check out Hacienda Ford, Pepe Rojas will have a deal for you. Just tell him the Otter sent you. All right. Louis, you got it on that one, the black market, the black rock there. Scott Adams on X says, the list of things we are not allowed to know is growing daily. Now, according to Scott Adams, and it's a very, very good list, and it starts out with a list, ironically. But these are the things that we cannot know about. Cheers. These are the things we cannot know about. The Epstein list. Can't know. I've seen it. You can all see it. BitcoinOtter.media@gmail.com. I'll send you the link. Diddy tapes. You're not going to see the Diddy tapes. Not until the boss gets back. Harris's 60 minutes full video. You know, CBS, I don't know if you know this or not, CBS edited an interview with Cammy the Clown. Again, I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. So she went on there and, you know, looked like kind of a Roger. Good to see you, Roger. Look like kind of, who we know she is. So they went back to the question in the editing booth and changed it. I think they even redid what the presenter, the state-run government stooge, asked her. And then they gave her another shot, or they just kept doing, retakes like a Stanley Kubrick movie. And she finally got it the way they wanted it, I guess, and then they packaged it and put it away. Well, the last good, if there were any others, CBS reporters left or was fired. Catherine Herridge. And she basically said, yeah, they broke all kinds of, ethics. But we're used to that. It's TV, So we're never going to see the full 60 minutes of that, disastrous interview. What else will we not see? We won't see the FBI attendees at January 6th. Of course we won't. We're not going to know how many FBI agents were there. We're not going to know how many of their CIs were there. We're not going to know how many Antifa people put on, MAGA gear and started smashing windows. We're not going to know who those, masked people were that opened up the huge doors with the mag locks on the top, looked back at the camera, and it magically opened up for them. You're not going to see that. Especially if you watch TV. UFO stuff, you're not going to see any of that. JFK assassination files, forget about it. The Crook's phone encrypted apps. The first attempted assassin. And then the Ruth phone, the guy who was at the golf course. You're not going to see those things. Okay? You're not going to see any of that stuff. Now, I want to add another coincidence into this. Can anybody tell me the connection between Crooks, the guy who was on the roof that was just way too slopey for the Secret Service, according to the woman that runs them, and the Ruth, the guy who was at the golf course? There's a connection between Crooks and Ruth. I'm wondering if anybody will put it together. And if you don't, let me mark this. If you don't, in a little while, because I know there's a delay. I'm realizing that now. So if you don't, I'll give you guys the connection. Okay? Now, this is from Amuse, again on X. Crime is so out of control in New York City that the former New York State governor can't walk his dog in Manhattan without getting attacked in the street. Former Governor David Paterson, the first black governor in New York history and second blind governor in American history, was walking his dog with his stepson when a group of adults and teens attacked them. Why? Because they're in New York. What are you doing in a communist state? Democrats insist crime is down, but New York City residents report that things are worse than they've ever been since the early, well, not ever, but since the early 1990s. Thank you, Matt. Ding, ding, ding. Matt gets the prize. BlackRock is the connection between Crooks, the guy who pierced the great president's ear, and Ruth, who was there at the golf course. How are they connected by BlackRock, you ask? They were both in there's a family show. They were both in a commercial. For BlackRock. I'm not kidding you. Ladies and gentlemen, I kid you not. You literally cannot make this stuff up. If this was fiction, you couldn't put it in your fiction book. You couldn't do it because people would throw the book away and say, you know what, this guy's just way out there, man. 2 assassins in the same company's commercials. That's so crazy. Nobody would believe that, yet it happened in real life. Oh, Otter, you're going off again on those conspiracy theories, aren't you? You know what? The videos are out there, guys. The commercials are made. they went out there. But you know what? You know what? I can't send you to the Wayback Machine. Oh, that's another coincidence, isn't it? I can't tell you, hey, go to the Wayback Machine, internetarchive.org. Go there and you could see these BlackRock. No, I can't. Because it's on page 2. The Internet Archive is down. Coincidence. I know. These coincidences that surround these 4-year elections. It's uncanny. It's uncanny, ladies and gentlemen. It's the coincidence that North Carolina was a red state, demolishing homes. The coincidence that Asheville, North Carolina is sitting on top of a lithium, a plethora of lithium, right? If you want to say that from the Three Amigos. El Guapo. Would you say we have a plethora? Anyway, these are not coincidences, ladies and gentlemen. It's just that the deep state actors are being exposed. Evil is coming to light. Okay? Donnie! Good to see you, Donnie. Donnie is an old friend of mine that I haven't seen in decades. And we bumped into each other on Facebook. Great to see you, Donnie. Great to see you're listening. We're talking about all the coincidences surrounding these 4-year elections. And Mike, good to see you. Congrats, Mike. Congrats. Good to see Mike's here. Dan's got a comment. Or could it be that technology is now catching up to reveal time travel? They can't brush out anymore. They're losing control. Dan, you're going deep here. And I will definitely not throw anything at that. I will definitely not, because there's some rabbit holes. And if you think it's crazy, everybody, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. I'll send you some stuff that if you get down in this rabbit hole, and my buddy Matt knows this, he went down the JFK Jr. one. I'm still trying to pull him out. But you're welcome, Mike. But the fact of the matter is, this whole time travel thing, it's just, hit me up and I'll send it to you. Jim, good to see you. By the way, hello, Jim. Hello, Sue. And hello, Dad. Thankfully, after Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Milton was not perhaps smooth. Some of those people got flooded, but not as bad as Helene. Thank God. So where I'm going with this, and thank you, Dan, for adding that. Again, I'll get into detail if you hit me up on bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. Anybody wants to know, okay, through the looking glass technology. Am I hitting anything here? Huh? Any of you who are fellow conspiracy theorists, and I wear that badge with pride, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. My dad says, hola. I didn't know Dad spoke Spanish. It's so cool. So what I was going off about just a moment ago were the coincidences among these instances of the 4-year elections. The two assassins so far that we know of, right, Crooks and Ruth, were both in BlackRock commercials. I mean, and you might say to yourself, okay, Otter, okay. Let's just say if I go as far as you take us to believe that these two guys were in a commercial at BlackRock, and you can see it. I think it's still out there somewhere. But again, you can't use the Wayback Machine because it's shut down. Another coincidence. But the thing that will happen to BlackRock if the boss is back in office again, Donald J. Trump, is that Donald J. Trump is telling us already that he's prepared for what's coming. What do I mean by that? I mean, he's front-loading an alternative financial system. Am I going out on a ledge? No. And if I had more time, I would be able to articulate this to the nth degree so that, you would see exactly where I'm coming from. What am I talking about? He has been hitting the gas, the pedal to the metal on Bitcoin for months now. And then Kami the Clown comes. Am I pronouncing that right? I know she gets upset if we mispronounce her name. So Kami the Clown comes behind him and fakes everything that he says, she says, right? So he's already talking about no tax on tips. He's talking about no tax for seniors on Social Security. He's talking about no taxes for people who work outside of the country. He's talking about all these things. Why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, Eileen, good to see you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jubilee is coming. Lord willing. Lord willing. This stranglehold that the Federal Reserve has on us since 1913, ladies and gents, will be broken. He's not going to say that yet, but what do you think he means? What do you think he means if he's saying no taxes on tips, no taxes for seniors on Social Security? Okay? There were some other things I'm forgetting at the moment. If anybody has him, throw him up there. But the whole, Johnny says hi. I love you too, Johnny. The whole thing is, what's going on is a complete transformation. There's a lot of this out there, but you won't get it if you watch TV. You won't get it. If anyone's heard of the fourth turning, these are the types of things that I'm telling you about. Okay? We are going to undergo a massive change. I believe personally, and I have many reasons for this. If you go back in the archives, well, you can't go to the Internet Archive, but if you go back on the Bitcoin Otter channel or the Facebook thing, if you go back on those, you'll see other shows where I speak to this. Okay? The patriots, the ones that love America and are in a position to mount a counterinsurgency, did so. I have full confidence. If you want details, if you want links, if you want sauce, if you will, bitcoinouter.media@gmail.com. Hit me up. I'm not afraid to debate these things. I'm not afraid to articulate them. We have a certain amount of time here, right? So I can't go too deeply into it. Also, there are some words, like I was alluding to earlier, Dan, that we can't really use for fear of, not real fear, but we're going to get canceled, censored. And if you don't think censorship is alive and well, just look at guys like Tucker Carlson, right? Look at people like Candace Owens. That woman talks. I mean, everybody believe all women except for Candace, right? Listen to the voice of black people except for Candace, right? Listen to the woman. Listen to her. She's a real woman. I'm not a biologist, but I know she's a woman because she's told us so. And other things. I won't mention those. However, Dan says 3 weeks, it's going to get spicy. Yes. And Dan, to elaborate on this, Corinne says sauce. Yeah. Like if you were Italian, like me, the grandma used to do this, the sauce. Or some grandmas, I guess, I don't know if it was New York, but they'd say gravy. I don't know. We didn't say that. It was sauce. So the sauce. So 3 weeks. But ladies and gents, please, let's not expect that it's going to be normal. Meaning, let's not expect that November 5th is going to be election day. That's when the election season starts, okay? Because all assets will be deployed. I'm not saying Jess and Mike. Hey, Jess and Mike. Good to see you guys. Shout out. Mike's on the keto diet. Yes. Anyway, glad for you, Mike. And I love you, Jess. So the thing about, and I lost my string. I lost my string there. Anyway, the thing about this election is going to be all assets are deployed for the bad guys. And at the same time, the good guys, the white hats, are exposing things and they're throwing them out. They're throwing them out, and people are seeing them. Now, we're not going to see the Epstein list right away. We're not going to see that, right? But, guys, light is being shined on the evil deeds. We see now darkly. We see through a glass darkly, says the Bible. But we're going to see clearly. at least more clearly. We're not going to see everything, ladies and gents, but the counterinsurgency is well on its way. If you don't believe me, please, there are so many people much, 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 much smarter than me, and I know that's not hard to believe, but there's so many more that have articulated the counterinsurgency, perhaps not with exact dates as to when it began and all that, but that it is in effect. It has been rolled out with gusto, so to speak. Okay? The patriots are in control. I truly believe this. Oh, but Otter, look what they're doing here. Look what they're doing there. You know, the weather, the this, the that. I understand. But here is the fact. If the deep state was still in full control, they would not be in panic mode the way they are. Look at these Hollywood stars. Again, they're saying if Donald Trump wins, I'm leaving the country. Look at the music, so-called artists, which almost every single one of them is a Satanist nowadays, right? We see their videos, right? So go to vigilancecitizen.com if you don't believe me. Vigilancecitizen.com has a breakdown of these music videos and, you know, the rituals that they're performing as they torture girls like Billie Eilish and so forth. Literal torture. Yeah, I'm not kidding. It's not an understatement by any stretch. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have hope for America. Okay? And all of our hope should hopefully be in God himself. That's where my hope is. My ultimate hope. Oh, I love this country. I'll die for this country if need be. But the fact of the matter is, this is my land. Heaven is my home. It's just the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it ever since 1996. Now, I'm going to skip through a little bit of the news because we're already going into about 10 minutes left. So I'm going to go to a quote by a very influential to me speaker. He's a speaker. He's a writer. He's many different things. His name is Martin Geddes. He's a Brit. Now, Louis, if you're still watching, you know, as I do, that when it comes to Brits, they are pretty much the best actors there are. You think there's a, you know, an American, a good actor, put him next to, you know, a British actor in a similar role, they're better. This guy's not an actor. Martin is not an actor. He's an activist. Okay? Very smart, very articulate. This is a quote of his. He's traveling through the United States, fortuitously or otherwise, he's in North Carolina. Marcos, good to see you, Marcos. Glad you can make it. We're talking about a bunch of stuff, but I'm going to read a comment from this man, a British man, who visited and is visiting North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky. And this is what he wrote. I subscribe to his Substack. So this is what he wrote. While having communists in the presidency, Congress, or Senate is obviously undesirable and dangerous, America can only prosper with a population that has vigilance against delusion and humility to reflect on whether they are the fool. This is only half of it. But think about how deep this goes. We have to have vigilance against delusion. That's what TV is all about. That's what newspapers and magazines are all about, delusion. And humility to reflect on whether they are the fool. Ladies and gents, I've been fooled by many things. I've been fooled many times. I'm sure there's things I believe now that are not quite true. However, we need to be vigilant against this delusion. His second half is this. Only a ministry of reconciliation can resolve a crisis of conscience. What he was talking about earlier in this written word here was about how we need to come together after we gain our country back because we can't stay divided. We need reconciliation. And that's you and that's me. Because there are people out there called normies. They're Americans, but they're trapped in this world called normalcy. And it's insane. It is freaking insane, this world. It's dictated to them through television. A box in their living room tells them what's normal, and they believe it. They live their lives by this box and the programming that comes over the airwaves. You wouldn't believe it unless you knew what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying, right? So we need to be there for these normies. Because when all this starts breaking, and it's going to break, ladies and gentlemen, get your Bitcoin, get your land, get your silver, get your gold, get your food, whatever you want to do to prepare yourselves. I've talked about this for years, 2 years now. 2 years ago, more than 2 years, Joe offered up a radio show for me, and I took it. 2 years I've been telling you, prepare. Not because you're scared, but because times are going to get tough. That's all. So Martin says, to end it, shared values and reality come from a place of love for the lost. Not fear as if they are a foe. They're not our foes. They're not our enemies. The communists, true communists, BlackRock, Vanguard, those are our enemies. Americans who happen to wear a blue ribbon and vote against America because they don't know about it are not our enemies. Some will argue with me. I say they are not. The spiritual fix has to come from us. There's no way to vote your way to virtue. I love that guy, Martin Geddes. He's on Substack. Sue says, they used to keep peasants in line by limiting the food. People who are worried about where their next meal is coming from tend to care less about politics. Thank you, Sue. That was prescient. Ding, ding. We got another winner. Up goes the thumb. Well done. Well said. If they can control the food, right? And if they can continue to give us bread and circuses, can anyone say NFL? Can anyone say pro sports? Alex, good to see you. Louis, good to see you. Dorochas, how are you? Corinne says, forgive them for they do not know. Thank you, Corinne. No matter how much we are persecuted or how much we feel constrained because there's people who just don't understand in this country, imagine God himself hanging from a cross and saying, forgive them, for they do not know. Wow. Thank you, Corinne. Thank you. On that note, I want to read something real quick. This is from another wise person. Pretty much the ultimate in wisdom. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Amen, amen, amen. Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Ladies and gents, I find it to be an extreme honor to be with you today. I find it to be an honor to be able to speak to you, with you. And I will not let that be lost on me, because we will be rebuilding. We will be rebuilding, ladies and gentlemen, together. What does Dan say here? But this time, it will be energy. They will limit electricity. After 5 days off, no electricity, society will show its true colors. Sal Gonzalez is watching. Hey, Sal. Good to see you. So Dan is bringing up something very interesting here. And I tend to agree with you, Dan, that after 5 days with no electricity, society will show its true colors. I see that. I understand that. And the fact of the matter is that what we have coming up is this. Rough times. Are they going to be ultimately rough? Are we going to lose all that we know as Americans? No, I don't believe so. It's going to be tough enough that we're going to wake up. Oh, yes, many of us will wake up. But it's not going to be too tough for us to come back and come alongside those that are asking, those that truly want to know what happened and how do we get out of this hole. So yes, without electricity, just ask someone from North Carolina, right? Sam, good to see you. Sam's got a comment. Good seeing you, Otter. Keep up the good work, says Eddie. Thanks, Eddie. Glad to see you're here. Glad to see you're listening. Thank you for watching. Sam says, our corrupt politicians, a.k.a. corrupt government, have sold the country out and hate Americans. Yeah, can't argue with that. I have a hard time coming together with people who support the destruction of our lives and country, whether they know or don't know. Bottom line is they will side with the government. Yeah, Sam. You know, Sam, you make it hard to argue with that. Okay? You make it hard to argue with that. But what I have to do, this is just me, and I'm not forcing you or anybody else to see things my way. But the way I look at it is this. If I was put on this earth for anything, it would be to be a peacemaker. Yeah, I've gotten in fights and done stupid things, I understand. But if we really want this country, this experiment with, a Republican form of government, and I don't mean the party. We are a republic. Only institutionalized, educated people believe we're in a democracy. We're not. We are in a constitutional republic. And if we want this representative government to work, we have to make an effort. To those who come to us, Sam, to those who ask, I'm not saying you're going to go into the war zone and try to drag some, brain dead zombie of an Antifa freak Nazi fascist to his senses. You're not. And if he shoots, well, you've got no recourse. Okay. But the fact of the matter is, if someone comes to me and asks me, hey, why are we in this situation? How did we get here? And why do you think that there is a counterinsurgency that's succeeding? I would love to help them understand all this. I have links. I've been studying this for years, guys. I've been a conspiracy theorist since 97. Went into that whole Bigfoot, UFO, I left all that. But in 2017 and 2018, I learned of the counterinsurgency and how it's related to the military. And I'm sold. You don't have to be sold, but I'll tell you where I went and how I got here. Without reservation. BitcoinOtter.media@gmail.com. Sam says, you and I can have our side discussions. We just need to keep our eyes open. I agree with you, Sam. Stay frosty. If they want to come around, most definitely, just saying ones that we don't are dangerous. They are dangerous, okay? And I don't want to make anyone warm and fuzzy in wartime. Right now, thank God, we are in an informational war. We are in a battlefield that is very unconventional. Thank God. Bullets are flying, but they're shooting at our leader. Hit him in the ear once. So the fact is, you're right, Sam. There are dangerous people out there. And if I have to die in a hill of brass, so be it. I know where I'm going. And I will defend my family and my country to the last. I'm not a pacifist by any means. But I'm just saying that if an old lady, a poor, decrepit, homeless guy who can't understand comes to you, or even just a man or a woman, average person comes to you and says, why? Why did this happen? And how do we get out of it? I didn't create the answers, but I know them. Not because I'm smart. Certainly not because I'm smart, but because I've studied this, I've read it, and I see it from a different perspective than the television. That's why. And I'm willing to share. BitcoinOtter.media@gmail.com. Costs you nothing. Send me an email. I'll hit you back. Javier, good to see you. You came on a little late. Javier, I got to close out. We're after the hour. However, that said, you can watch it again, and we got more episodes on the YouTube channel, Bitcoin Otter, and Facebook, also 97.7 FM Facebook. Okay? So we're going to sign out. Just so everybody knows, we're live on the radio right now, 97.7 FM, KCYP, the city, out of McAllen, Texas. If you'd like to be a sponsor of the show, please hit us up. Hit us up. You got a business. You're here local. Come on, sit across from me. We'll talk. All right? I'll interview you. You tell me about your business. Right? I love you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for participating. Everybody who participated. This was a great show. I really enjoyed the participation. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless America. And we're going to win. Thank you.
This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show
Oh my God, I love you so much.
on 90.